Next game we're going to talk about is a small little card game called Dragon Punch.
Okay, I didn't know where we're going first, but it's designed by Koen Hendrix. The artist is Keijzer, and it's published. This was by Level 99.
So Dragon Punch is a small little card game. Actually, just I went over this in the latest Throat Punch lunch on the Dice Tower. I kind of did a little my little segment about it. But either way, Matt and I played it right before this podcast.
Yes, we did.
I've played it other than that, but at least Matt's up to date on this one.
Mm-hmm.
You get 6 cards. Both players get the exact same 6 cards. And then there's also 6 other cards that are characters. You get one of those as well. So that's the only difference between your 7 cards total versus your opponent's 7 cards. This game simulates the same fighting as in Street Fighter, Tekken, things like that.
Right.
What happens is each card is separated into 2 halves. The top half is white. The bottom half is red, and it's upside down. So when those get upgraded, you flip them upside down in your hand. So now you're using the red side. They're more powerful. The bad part is once all your cards are red, you lose the game. So as you take damage, you actually upgrade your abilities, but it's also a negative thing as well. What you do on your turn, you put the cards in your hand, just in almost like you would pick up a deck of cards and just hold them without splaying them out or splaying, or what's it called? Fanning them. You don't fan them out. So you can fan them when you're looking at them, but then you're going to take one card, put it on top, and both players, when they're ready, they point the deck at each other and reveal it. So you don't put cards on the table or whatever. They're always in your hand. You compare the attacks versus each other. And the basic way is there's going to be a high attack and a low attack, or a high spot and a low spot on each card. They may or may not have icons. Say, for instance, the fireball, the top icon, the high attack, has a fireball. Each attack has a speed value. The lower, the better. And I think it goes up to 5. So a 1 is the fastest, 5 is the slowest. And it also has a big damage marker, and it has a number of points of damage, like 1 or 2. And if no one has the initiative, no one ever starts with initiative, then whoever does the quicker attack in that slot, high or low, will actually interrupt the other player's attack and do damage. So if I play a speed 2 with the damage 1, and Matt plays a speed 3 with the damage 2, I interrupt his attack and do damage. Kind of like in a fighting game where they're getting ready to power up a move and you run up and kick them with a small... I don't do a lot of damage, but I interrupt that move.
Mm-hmm.
There's also cards that have blocks that will fully block that attack if it's in the high or low spot. And there's cards that have evades, which totally evades it. And that's just a terminology thing with some of the special abilities on some of the cards. Like this is unblockable, but it's not unevadable, etc. Anyway, when you hit somebody, like say for instance with the fireball, it's also labeled as a projectile, which is a different keyword, but whatever. It says if you're successful in doing damage with this attack, then you also gain initiative for the next round. So when you do damage, like I said, so say the fireball does 1 damage, Matt's going to take any one of his cards and he's going to flip it upside down. The character card is not a hit point. It's actually got 2 special abilities. You can flip it upside down as much as you want. And when you play it, you play whichever side you want. So it's not actually counted in your hit points, and you can always use whichever side. Whereas the other cards, you have to upgrade them first. Anyway, once you've used an ability, it's going to rotate towards your opponent. So like I'm going to flip it upside down in my hand and put it on the back of my deck, so that when the other player looks at the back of your deck, they see the last card that you played. The rest of the cards are facing you, but as you play cards, now they're facing your opponent. They can only see the last card, but they're still facing them. So you can only use a card once, basically. Both players have a taunt card. When you play the taunt card, it allows you to flip all those cards back towards you, so you gain those powers again. So it's kind of a deduction game where you're like, okay, he's played his low kick, he's played his fireball and his block. He's either probably going to do, he knows what I've played, so maybe he's thinking, oh, he hasn't played his special characters card, so maybe I'll play a block this turn or whatever. You kind of deduce it that way.
Right.
And that's it. I mean, you basically just take turns, or not take turns, but each player selects a card, reveals it, you determine who does damage, you flip it in the back of your deck, you keep going, and eventually somebody runs out of hit points, they lose. Best 2 out of 3 is the winner. So, what did you think, Matt?
It's okay. I mean, is it super special? No. But it is good though. Especially if you like fight. It does have a fighting game feel to it, definitely, with all what all's going on and stuff. And it does come with like a ton of characters to play. So I mean, replayability is there. It is best with 2, I saw.
It's only 2 players.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was funny whenever I saw it on Board Game Geek. Yeah, and it's kind of neat that as you're taking damage, I guess you're getting angry and you're fighting harder and stuff. So you're going to flip your cards around, and they're better abilities. I will say one thing I thought was really neat was the high-low slot. I thought that was because that adds another level to deducing.
It's kind of like in Street Fighter when you're getting ready to hit them with a fireball, but they get down and they sweep kick you.
Yeah.
You're like, are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, with the trying to figure what to play, it just adds another level of guessing.
Right.
You know, because it's you're not just shooting a fireball at them, you're shooting it at their head. And like you said, they could just duck and do a little quick shot or something and interrupt you, and it won't even go through.
Right, because since you have the same character or same cards other than the character card that you get, you might think, oh, there's one basic card without it being upgraded that has a high evade. And so you're like, okay, he's already played that, time to do the fireball. Mm-hmm. But you know that I know that.
Yes.
So you might play your block, or maybe try to do a high attack that's actually a faster speed to interrupt my fireball attack. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty cool that way. And I think that with like games like Brave Rats and stuff like that, or Love Letter, even if you want to consider this kind of in the same vein, you've got 7 cards, but the options are crazy. Because not only do you have 6 basic cards, you only have 6 at a time, but there's technically 12 cards there. Mm-hmm. Because the upgraded version is slightly better, but not always the same, just better. Right. It does change a little bit about the card, but the idea is kind of the same.
Right.
I think that this was fun. Actually, I got this a couple years back, and I never even played it because it was just in a bag at the time, because I don't think the Kickstarter... I think it comes in a blister pack, and once you open it, you don't have anywhere to put the cards.
Gotcha.
But they did have like a limited tin version. It's whatever. But... the other thing is like the character cards. If the character cards weren't there, I think this game would be a lot worse. Like it would just be like, oh, that was fun. That was fun. This is stagnant. With the character cards, it's amazing how one card changes that much.
Right.
Because I mean, oh man, it just changes so much. It's not like super dramatic, but it does make the game replayable. And honestly, Eric and I played it a bunch, and we would just do 2 character cards apiece.
Oh, really?
Which made it even crazier. You don't want to add too many character cards though, because you lose that deduction sense as they play cards. You know, I mean, you still got it, but there's too many options to break down.
Right.
So 2 is probably the max, but I kind of picture it like where you're playing the old Street Fighter games, like Street Fighter Alpha, where it's like 2-on-1 kind of idea.
Right.
But this is 2-on-2, obviously, because each character is a character card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, the other thing, the biggest thing actually, is the fact that it does not require a board or a table or anything.
Right.
So you can stand in line at Gen Con or whatever and play this game. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. You know, I almost feel like this is a game that you can carry on with you or carry with you anywhere, because it's 18 cards and you don't need the rules. I mean, it's only 2 pages of rules basically. And once you know them, it's not, I never found myself needing to look up a rule.
Right. Because
most of it is all just the special actions on the cards. Mm-hmm. So super fun. For 18 cards.
Yeah.